With that, let's move to the next model, which is Bell-LaPadula model, an important model for the CISSP exam. So pay attention. Now, Bell-LaPadula model it's a very old model which was built, I think, in the 1970s, and it was built for the US military. Okay. And the goal of the system was that US military had a lot of secret information on systems. So US military wanted to have a security model that could come up with the rules to make sure that the confidential information that is on those systems, it remains confidential. Okay. So confidentiality was the main goal with which, keeping which in mind, Bell-LaPadula model was built. Okay. So it enforces the confidentiality aspect of access control, of access control. It does not address other things like integrity, for example. So it is built on state machine concept and the information flow model. Like I had said earlier, it was built for US military with the main goal to prevent secret information from being accessed in an unauthorized manner. And then it enforces the confidentiality aspect of access control. And how does it do that? It does that by checking the subject's clearance level with the object's classification level, and then it applies certain rules. So let me go back to the drawing board here. Let me erase all of this. So we are talking about Bell-LaPadula. Okay. So you have got subjects and you have got objects. Okay. So subjects have got clearance levels. Okay. So for example, like subjects are, oh, sorry, what happened? One moment, sorry. Okay. This is Bell-LaPadula model. So we have got subjects and we have got objects. So subjects have got different security levels. Okay. So subjects, maybe they could have a clearance of top secret. They could have clearance of secret, and they could have clearance of, let's say, public. Similarly, objects have got classifications. So subjects have got clearance levels, and objects have got classification levels or labels. It's one and the same thing. So objects also have top secret, and then secret, and then public. So the way Bell-LaPadula model works is that it checks the subject's clearance level and it compares the subject's clearance level with the object's classification level, and then it applies the rules that are defined by the Bell-LaPadula model, and then it allows the access accordingly. So the very first rule of Bell-LaPadula model is called a simple security rule. Simple security rule. What does the simple security rule say? Simple security rule says that a subject cannot read an object at a higher security level, at a higher classification level. So for example, if let's say there is a subject that is at the public clearance level, that subject cannot read information which is at a higher classification level than his own clearance. So a subject at a public level cannot read an object at a at a security level. That will be denied. Okay. Now, so that is the first rule, which is simple security rule. Then the second rule is star security rule. Star security rule says that a subject with a certain security level cannot write to an object of a lower classification level. Okay, so let's say there is a subject at secret level with a secret clearance. That subject cannot write to an object at a lower classification level. So this is about read, no read, right? And then it says here, a subject, which is the star security rule, a subject cannot write to an object which is at a lower classification level than the security clearance of the subject. So it cannot write. Okay, why is that? Why would somebody at the security level of secret not allowed to write on a file of public classification? That is because you want to avoid a situation where somebody with a secret information can write some secret information to a public file. right? You want to avoid those kind of mistakes, maybe deliberate mistakes, or maybe somebody's or a genuine mistake. Okay, so that is called no write down. I'll come back to the mind map where you will see all the details, and then let me go back to the mind map here. So these are the 4 rules of Bell-LaPadula that I was explaining. The first one is simple security rule. As I said earlier, a subject cannot read data at a higher security level, no read up. For example, if Mark has clearance of secret, then he cannot read data of top secret classification, right? Then we have the next property, which is the star property rule, which says a subject cannot write data to a lower security level. You can also remember it as no write down. For example, if Mark has clearance of secret, then Mark cannot write data to an unclassified file, because the classification of unclassified is below the classification of secret. Okay. And then the third rule is the strong star property rule. It says that a subject can perform read and write functions on the object if the subject's clearance and the object's classification are equal. So if I go back to the drawing board here, it says that if there is a user at secret level, that user can only perform read and write both functions at the same level of files. Okay, so if the user wants to perform both read and write, it can only happen at the same at the same level because of this rule here, the strong star property rule. Okay, and then the last rule here is the discretionary security property. You will also sometimes see it written as DS property. So discretionary security property says that the system uses an access control matrix that I showed you earlier, where it is at the discretion of the owner of the system or owner of the file who decides who will get access to that specific file or that specific application and at what level. So it is at the discretion of the owner of the file to decide who gets access and to what level. That is why the name is the discretionary security property. Okay. So there are various systems like MAC systems, DAC systems. MAC is mandatory access control. DAC is discretionary access control. So MAC systems, mandatory access control systems, they are based on this system or this model, Bell-LaPadula, because they also, before they grant access to any object, to any subject, they perform these exact same checks. That is comparing the subject's clearance with the object's classification. Okay. So remember these 4 rules: the simple security rule, which is about no read up; star property, which is about no write down; and then strong star property, which says that a subject can perform read and write functions on the object if the subject's clearance and the object's classification are equal. So that is Bell-LaPadula for you. Okay.